When 68-year-old Ellen opened her bedroom door one morning, something just broke inside her. Not physically, emotionally. She had just come back from visiting her daughter's newly renovated guest suite. It was serene, elegant, calming. The kind of space that made you exhale. But standing in her own bedroom, Ellen felt like she was standing in a garage sale of her former life. The drapes were sagging. The furniture looked like it hadn't moved since Bush was president, the first one. And the worst part? It wasn't messy. It was just tired, dull, lifeless, cheap. Not in money. Ellen had spent years collecting those items. But somehow, together, they made the space feel like a forgotten motel room. What happened next? Ellen didn't just change her bedroom. She changed the entire energy of her life, in less than a weekend. No renovations. No fancy interior designer. No $10,000 makeover. Just 8 brutally honest fixes that made her bedroom look and feel expensive, elegant, and completely hers. I'm going to walk you through every single mistake she found, and how she fixed it, so you can transform your bedroom without lifting anything heavier than a curtain rod. And if you're over 60, this isn't about following the latest TikTok trend. It's about reclaiming your space with dignity, style, and a touch of rebellion. Because after a certain age, your bedroom should feel like a sanctuary, not a storage unit for your past. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications bell for more contents like this. Let's begin. Mistake 1. The layout you haven't touched since 1997. Ellen's first wake-up call came from the most obvious place, the furniture layout. Her bed was shoved in a corner under a dark window. Her dresser blocked half the closet, and the only accessible outlet was hidden behind a bookcase. Sound familiar? Like many of us, Ellen hadn't changed the furniture layout in over 20 years. It just made sense, she said. But the truth? It didn't. It only made sense when her husband was alive, when the kids were small, when she needed the crib near the bed and the laundry basket by the door. But now, that layout belonged to a version of her life that didn't exist anymore. So she did something radical. She cleared the room completely. Every piece of furniture, every rug, every basket, all moved out. She stood in the empty room and asked one question. If I were designing this space from scratch, for the woman I am today, what would I do? Not for the mom, not the wife, not the caretaker. For Ellen. She centered the bed, moved her favorite reading chair by the window, placed the dresser where it didn't block light or flow. Felt strange at first, but then she realized something. The energy in the room had shifted. It breathed again. Your room is not a museum. It's not supposed to be a fossil of your former roles. If the layout hasn't changed in decades, it's not functional, it's fossilized. Mistake 2. Heavy curtains that suck the light and the joy out of the room. Ellen had deep burgundy drapes that her mother-in-law gave her as a wedding gift. They were thick, velvet, probably expensive once, but they made her small room feel even smaller, and darker, and older. I didn't want to insult my mother-in-law's memory, she said, but I also didn't want to keep waking up in a room that felt like Dracula's parlor. So she tried an experiment. She replaced the curtains with soft, light-filtering linen panels in a creamy beige. Suddenly, the morning sun poured in. Her room looked twice as big, and 5 times as alive. She didn't throw away the old curtains. She packed them away with other family keepsakes. But they no longer had to hang like ghosts over her mornings. You don't have to toss every sentimental item. But you do have to ask, is this serving me now, or shadowing my light? If your curtains are blocking joy and light, it's time to open more than just the windows. Mistake 3. Matching furniture sets that scream discount deal instead of style. Ellen had the full 5-piece set, the carved wooden bed frame, the oversized dresser, 2 nightstands, and a bulky armoire, all the same honey oak tone. Back in the 90s, it was a sign of stability and class. But now, it looked like a furniture showroom stuck on pause. Here's the harsh truth. Matching sets look dated. They flatten personality. Ellen didn't need to replace everything. She started small. She swapped one nightstand with a modern black metal side table. Then she draped a soft, woven runner across the dresser and placed a single ceramic vase with fresh greens. It didn't cost her much, but it changed everything. Mixing textures and materials made her room look curated, not copied. Personal, not packaged. You don't need to buy new furniture to look stylish. You just need to break up the monotony and add one unexpected twist. The key isn't expensive taste. It's expressive taste. Mistake 4. Surface clutter that looks like a yard sale table. Ellen had items on every surface. Trinkets on the dresser, 5 photo frames stacked behind a jewelry tree, perfume bottles half-used and dusty, decorative bowls that held keys to doors she no longer owned. At first, she called it sentimental. Then she realized it was just noise. Here's the truth, she whispered to herself that night. If everything is special, then nothing is. So she tried something radical. She removed every single object from her dresser, her bedside tables, her shelves. She laid them out on her bed and asked, "Would I be proud to show this to someone I admire? Would this still belong if I started fresh today?" The answer? No. Not to all. She kept 3 things. A framed photo of her grandkids. A smooth stone her husband gave her the day before his surgery. A lamp that reminded her of the first place they ever lived. Everything else? Donated, boxed, or trashed. The result? Her surfaces looked clean, intentional, and, oddly, more luxurious. Because clutter is the quickest way to cheapen even the most beautiful bedroom. Ellen didn't need more stuff. She needed space to breathe. Mistake 5. Tired bedding that's stealing your style. Ellen's quilt was heavy, emotionally and physically. A floral patchwork from the early 2000s. Once beautiful, now faded. It sagged in the middle and clashed with everything. Her pillows? 10 of them. Flat. Stiff. One had a coffee stain from 2014. Every night, she moved all 10 pillows to the chair. Every morning, she stacked them back on. Why am I performing this ritual? She finally asked herself. So she did what brave women do. She gave her bed a makeover, not a memorial. She bought one thing, a clean white duvet cover. Crisp. Hotel style. She added 2 plush pillows and 1 textured throw. That's it. When she walked into the room the next morning, it looked like a magazine spread. But here's what made her tear up. It finally felt like a bed made for rest, not obligation. You don't need layers of fabric to feel cozy. You need layers of intention. One fresh set of bedding can make your whole room, and your whole life, feel lighter. Mistake 6. One harsh light bulb hanging from the ceiling. This one hit Ellen harder than she expected. Because every night, she flipped one switch, and her entire bedroom lit up like a hospital room. Cold. Harsh. Impersonal. She hadn't realized how much the lighting affected her mood until she changed it. She bought 2 soft glow bedside lamps. One with a touch sensor, the other with a flexible neck for reading. Then she added a small battery-powered strip under her dresser mirror. It glowed like a candle without the fire hazard. And just like that, her bedroom became a retreat. Warm light makes everything, your skin, your room, your soul, look better. Harsh overhead light. It's like a flashlight on your flaws. Ellen's room transformed from practical to peaceful with 3 cheap changes. Light is not just utility. It's emotion. Mistake 7. Letting tech clutter kill the calm. Ellen still had a stereo system from the early 2000s on her dresser. A chunky DVD player, tangled cords in a basket, a cracked tablet, an alarm clock that blinked 12 o'clock eternally. "I don't even watch DVDs anymore," she whispered. "But I keep them." Why? Because it felt like letting go of that tech meant letting go of some part of her independence. Her past routine. Her control. But when she finally unplugged everything, set it all in a box, and replaced it with one small Bluetooth speaker and a fresh vase of lavender, the room breathed. The silence wasn't empty. It was peaceful. Here's the truth. Outdated electronics don't make your bedroom feel modern or resourceful. They make it feel cluttered and strangely sad. Technology should support your rest, not clutter your space. Mistake 8. Decorating for the woman you used to be. This was the one that broke her. Buried deep in her closet, Ellen found her old briefcase. The leather was cracked. Inside were conference badges from her executive days, a handful of thank you cards from former employees, and her favorite lipstick from a brand that no longer existed. She sat on the floor for a long time, holding it all. "I was someone," she whispered. And then, almost immediately, she caught herself. "I am someone." That was the shift. Because here's what Ellen realized. Her bedroom wasn't just outdated in style, it was outdated in identity. It still reflected the woman she was before retirement, before widowhood, before she let herself rest. But the woman she was becoming? She was softer now, gentler with herself, still strong, but in a new way. So she replaced her framed diplomas with a watercolor she'd painted in class last fall. She put her gardening hat on a decorative hook near the door, because now she actually had time to plant things. And she let her nightstand hold a book of poetry, instead of business strategy. Your room should reflect your next chapter, not chain you to the last one. If your bedroom is still telling a story that's no longer true, you have every right to rewrite it. When her daughter visited 2 days later, she stood in the doorway in stunned silence. "Mom," she said, "did you hire someone?" Ellen laughed. "No. I finally stopped decorating for the woman I used to be." That night, for the first time in years, Ellen fell asleep smiling. Not because everything was perfect, but because everything finally felt intentional. Not a showroom. Not a storage unit. A sanctuary. Her sanctuary. If you saw even one of these mistakes in your own bedroom, don't be ashamed. You're not behind. You're not outdated. You're simply overdue for a space that reflects the elegant, evolving person you are now. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these 8 mistakes is hiding in your bedroom? Hit the like button if this message spoke to you. And if you're ready to make your next chapter your best chapter, subscribe and tap the notification bell. Because after 60, your bedroom should feel priceless, not cheap. And trust me, when you finally walk into a space that reflects your present, not your past, something inside you finally exhales. You deserve that feeling. Let's make it happen.